Hey guys, happy Monday. Joe here at SportsGrid. It's time for a pocket with Joe. We've got 6 games to go over today. We're going to have some fun with this. Let's look at some player props. Let's look at some sides and some totals in this. We're going to start with the first game. The Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, this one kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern. I did think we would see Elvis in goal, who's been fantastic as of late for the Columbus Blue Jackets, but it is Tarasov coming in and Aiden Hill expected here for the Vegas Golden Knights. So all odds are over on FanDuel. We're looking at current odds for Vegas at minus 200, with the Columbus Blue Jackets rolling in at plus 164 and a total of 6.5. Now that 6.5, you're going to have to lay that juice to the over at minus 122. Happy Monday, Matt. Thank you for joining us here today. So yeah, you're going to have to lay the juice to the over. I couldn't take this one to the under just because I don't trust a Tarasov in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Looking at the Vegas Golden Knights, I do think they're the right side, but we have to find a way to make some money on this one because it's a hard one to make money on with Vegas being such a favorite. I'm looking at them probably on that puck line. Vegas to cover the puck line, laying 1.5 coming in at plus 122, and I do think it is the right side. This team has been so much stronger. I do believe Jack Eichel is back in the lineup tonight, and let's just see if we've got some player props yet for him. Because if the player props are out, he is going to be hitting that ice. It was a talks of him coming back. Now, William Karlsson for the anytime goal, just when I look at these player props, I'm not seeing Jack Eichel, but William Karlsson for Vegas. I do like him. He's coming in at plus 200. And yes, Jack Eichel is back in the lineup, plus 120 for the anytime goal for Jack Eichel. If you're looking at the other side of the puck, Bon Jenner here has been fantastic for Columbus. He's coming in at plus 185 and Johnny Gaudreau at plus 260. Now, Aiden Hill has been playing strong, but this team has lost their last two. That last loss to the Buffalo Sabres on a Saturday is 7-2. They allowed 4 goals in that third period. So I do expect more out of them defensively in this matchup. But again, I can't take this one to the under just with how Tarasov has played for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Jackets just allowing way too many shots at 33.3 shots on goal per game. So I do think this can be an explosive one offensively for the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas has won for the last 6 matchups versus the Columbus Blue Jackets as well, but they have been allowing all of these goals to come raining in on them in the last 6 games. They've allowed 30 goals, so not a good way to go. Also, when you're looking at William Karlsson, one thing I forgot to mention when I was throwing out his props there, you could look at him for his shots on goal. He did play for Columbus, so this is him against a former team. I do think he really steps up in this. I love looking at those angles of players versus their former team. Now, we do have a look ahead here for Thursday when the Vegas Golden Knights take on Vancouver, but it's far off. It's Monday. It's the 4th here. They have the Red Wings then on Saturday. So they got 2 hard opponents on deck, but Columbus has the Oilers on Thursday and the Pittsburgh Penguins on deck as well. Tomorrow, this is the first night of a back-to-back. Columbus not one of those teams where you got to worry about that first night of a back-to-back overlooking a certain team because we know the standings for the Columbus Blue Jackets are not good right now. So I wouldn't worry about this look-ahead position. Give me the over 6.5 again. That over coming in at, I believe it's minus 122. Yeah, minus 122 to the over. And I'm going to take Vegas at minus 1.5 at plus 122. And William Karlsson there for the anytime goal and get that great plus money. So let's go, you guys. It's a beautiful Monday to make some money. Yeah, the over in the Wild and the Sharks. I'm disappointed in the Sharks yesterday. They had every opportunity to be able to get that win. Yes, we did get them on the puck line, plus 1.5 at plus 114. I wanted the straight up win. I was being greedy, but that's okay. Columbus is a live dog. Okay. I don't hate Columbus plus 1.5, minus 146. They could play Vegas tight in this one, but I think for me, with Vegas losing their last 2, if Vegas had won their last game and rolled in a little bit more confident and Jack Eichel wasn't in the lineup, I could really get behind the Columbus Blue Jackets plus 1.5. With Jack Eichel back for me and this team losing their last 2, I just can't get behind another team. I know Vegas has been playing pretty bad though. So Vegas on the puck line first period. I do think that is a strong way to go. Vegas on the puck line in the first period. I think there's a pretty good trend towards that. Can't remember it off the top of my head why you could get behind Vegas on that puck line, but I would like it as well. You look at this team after losing their last couple to start off strong. Let's look at the next game here. We've got the Florida Panthers taking on the New York Rangers. I am going to go against all trends. Now, this total's low. It's at 5.5, you guys. The over 5.5 is minus 122, and the under is plus 100. Give me the under 5.5, and I'm scared in this one to even tell you guys I'm taking it, but I absolutely have to. Looking at these teams, defense and goaltending are going to be phenomenally strong. History does not support the under, though. We look at the last 18 matchups between these two teams, and they have gone over that number of 5.5 in all of those. So if you're writing the over, I completely understand why. This has every opportunity and the writing on the wall of overtime as well. This one to go to OT, and let me pull up the odds on this one. This one to go to overtime is plus 330, and I do think it has every ability to go to overtime. 2-2 game to OT, that keeps us under the 5.5. 1-1 game going to OT keeps us under the 5.5. Worst case scenario is this is a 3-2 game, doesn't go to, or it does go to overtime, gets pushed to that extra goal and pushes us over the total. So that's what I don't want to see out there when we're looking at a side. Minus 132 here for the Florida Panthers coming in on the road. This team has been playing absolutely outstanding. We know how strong their defense has been playing. Offensively, they're able to find the back of the net, and goaltending has been solid with Bobrovsky. The New York Rangers are coming in at plus 110. Home dog. Who doesn't love a home dog? Now, the New York Rangers have had some bumps along the way, but I really do think Igor Shesterkin is playing absolutely phenomenal right now, and we can't discount him and what this team's able to do. 5.5. Give me the under. Plus 100. And I lean on the Rangers here. The New York Rangers at home. Igor Shesterkin in the month of February was absolutely phenomenal. Now, in his last game out versus the Maple Leafs, they lost that one versus the Leafs. They had to fight their way back into that game. They gave up some early goals. Igor allowed 3 goals on 34 shots on net. I'm expecting a way stronger game out of him. January was up and down for Igor. February was absolutely solid. He needs to get back to that absolutely solid situation. February, he went 7-0-0. He had a goals against average of 1.72 and a 9.53 save percentage. So that's the Igor I want to see tonight, and I do think we'll get it. Now, we look at the New York Rangers. They're holding opponents to 29.6 shots on goal per game, but the Florida Panthers, so strong offensively, averaging 34.2. While the Rangers are going to try to limit the ability of the Florida Panthers to really get those high danger shots and the shots overall, I do think Igor, because he has a really solid day, goes over his 29.5 saved shots on goal. That's coming in at minus 106. Now, this is going to be a hard number to get to the over, just because I do think the defense is really going to come into play for the New York Rangers. But I think the Florida Panthers offensively will do enough to at least get 32 shots on net. It's not giving us much wiggle room here at 29.5. I absolutely know that. But like I said, I'm expecting 32 shots. And when I look at these goalie props, you guys, I'm looking at what I think we're going to get for shots, where I think these teams will finish before I look at that goalie number. So I already expected 32. I expected 2 goals at the most out of the Florida Panthers, unless it goes to overtime, where we could get that third, which means more shots. So the 29.5 is right on the number that I was looking at. So I'm going to take it to the over at minus 106. I'm not going to take Bobrovsky's number here, though, because we look at the Florida Panthers, and this defense is so phenomenal at limiting the opponent's ability. Overall on the season, that number not looking as solid as what they have been doing as late at 27.6, but this team so phenomenally strong, and they are going to limit the Rangers' ability in this one. So I don't want to take Bobrovsky to an under, because I still think he has a solid night, and it just seems contrary in my mind to take him to the under, even though I think he goes for a solid one. It's just because of the defenses there. Now, the last matchup between these two, We did see the Florida Panthers win in a 4-3 game. The Rangers won the 4 prior. So I am leaning on the Rangers to be able to answer back. This team's so solid at home, sitting 21-7 at home on the season. And like I said, the Florida Panthers really allowing limited shots out there. Their defense is playing absolutely elite. I'm going to also look at that first period under 1.5 at -112. I feel like this game is going to be so low scoring in the first period. I could see that second period opening up a little bit more, and then the third period locking back down. So this is a scary one, you guys, but I do think the Rangers can win it at home. I know how strong Florida is. Florida's been fantastic on the road as well. Looking at Florida on the road, they're sitting 21-8-1-1 on the road this season. Bobrovsky is playing elite with a 2.30 goals against average and a 981 save percentage. So this is the best game. Battle of two top teams, number one in the Atlantic and number one in the Metro. Give me OT tonight. Give me the home dog here in the Rangers for that value. And then give me the under 1.5 in the first period. I'm not going to look at goal scorers, you guys, because I do expect this one to be low scoring. You're going to go on the over, and I don't blame you. The last 18 matchups between these two teams have gone to that over 5.5. So I'm going to take a chance on that under. I think it's really 3-3-3-2 Floridian slip maybe there. I think it's 3-2 in overtime, how that one goes. And I could see the Florida Panthers winning this. This is going to be a hard battle out there for these teams. And thank you, Joe. Yeah, if everyone could hit that like button, I would very much appreciate it. Assistant Green gets a head job in New Jersey. That is news to me. Fantastic to hear. Okay, let's move on. We've got 4 more games to go over. The St. Louis Blues taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, Binghamton expected in net for St. Louis, and Urgent confirmed for the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers have been playing phenomenal hockey as of late. They've won their last they won the last game versus the Sens. They lost that one before, but they're sitting third in the Metro here. The St. Louis Blues off a win versus the Wild on Saturday, 3-1 win at home in a game I didn't think they were going to be able to get the win over the Wild. They're sitting 5th in the Metro, or in the Central, sorry, and that Flyers are the one in the Metro sitting a third. I'm going to look at a couple things in this one. I think this is a good player prop one. I still don't have full faith in the Philadelphia Flyers, but there's a couple of players that I do have faith in to come out nice and strong. Owen Tibbett here, anytime goals coming in at +150. We know the St. Louis Blues give up a lot of looks and they allow opponents to get those shots on goal. Binghamton can be up and down. He has been having a better season than I expected. So the anytime goal for Owen Tibbett at +150. The 4+ shots on goal, you're going to have to lay juice at -140. So you guys know I don't like doing that. Owen Tibbett could get 5 shots on goal in this one. That's coming in at +162. We look at the St. Louis Blues. They allow an average of 32 shots on goal per game. Their kills sitting decent at 79.4%, but I like the Flyers' ability to get those shots. This team is the 3rd best overall in the league at getting those shots, averaging 33.4 shots on goal per game. And I think Owen Tibbett, huge leader of this team. So if you want to take him for the 5+, that's coming in at +162. It's a little bit of a stretch here, but you look at him, he's had 4+ shots on goal in 7 of the last 10 games, and some of those have been highly explosive, flying over this number. So I do think Owen Tibbett can get the 4+, again, -140, the 5+ at +162. So maybe a half a unit on both of those. This is the first night of a back-to-back for the St. Louis Blues. They have the Islanders on deck tomorrow, who are 4th in the Metro, not a divisional opponent. And then the Devils on Thursday and the Rangers on Saturday. When we look at the Philadelphia Flyers, they have the Panthers on Thursday and the Lightning on Saturday. So no look ahead. Now, when you look at their rookie, Tyson Forster here, he got 2 goals versus the Ottawa Senators. So he was really quiet at the start of the year, and we've actually seen him be hugely impactful for the Philadelphia Flyers as of late. I do think this is one where you could look at him for the anytime goal. You're getting so much value at +220, but with him scoring 2 goals in the last game. Is it momentum that he rolls in with, or did he have a little bit of puck luck? Like, I'm not taking those goals away from him, but when you look at someone who wasn't scoring the goals, who has been, he has 6 goals in the last 5 games. Can that continue, or is he going to be locked down by the St. Louis Blues defense? So Tyson Forster here, the anytime goal plus 220. I would probably look at those shots. He had 7 shots on goal in that last game. So taking him for 4+ shots on goal in this one tonight, you're actually getting better value than you would on his anytime goal. 4+ shots for him coming in at plus 275. We've already talked about the fact the St. Louis Blues allow a ton of shots on their goaltender. Binghamton will be peppered in this one. So I like him here for the 4+. That's a plus 275 again. If you want to just take him for the 3+, which is a more reasonable number for him to get those shots in this game, that's coming in at plus 108. Again, I would split it. Half a unit on the 3+ shots on goal at plus 108 and half a unit on the 4+ shots on goal at plus 275. I think extreme value here. So that's what I'm doing with the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm not going to take a side in this one, you guys. Looking at those odds for the Philadelphia Flyers in this game, they're minus 146. I just don't want to lay that. I don't completely trust this team. It's plus 122 here for the St. Louis Blues. And again, that total 5.5 minus 128 to the over and plus 104 to the under. I expect this one to go over, but minus 128 and over between these teams, I don't want to like either. When I'm looking at player props here for the St. Louis Blues, because I do think there's going to be scoring on both sides. Robert Thomas here has value for that anytime goal at plus 280. I think that is a nice way to look. And Jordan Kyrou. I like Jordan Kyrou for the anytime goal. He's coming in at plus 210. So not as much value for Kyrou, but he would be my favorite if you're just looking for one of those players to be able to get that anytime goal. And that's all I'm doing. Just give me player props in this one. Let me know what you're liking. Matt liking him as well to be able to get it. And yeah, 5.5, 3-2, 4-2 to the over. It should be a good matchup between these two. I've got to go over. I really do. I look at both of these teams. I look at the goaltending, and while Erzen has been strong, I don't know. I think there is playmakers on both sides that can push this one to the over. The Flyers have gone 6-4 in their last 10 to the over. St. Louis Blues have been doing a pretty solid job at limiting the abilities, going 4-5-1 to the over and under. But I do think this is going to be a higher scoring game. Let's look at the Boston Bruins taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So let's look at odds on this. This is going to be another fantastic game. The Boston Bruins coming in at plus 106. The Toronto Maple Leafs at minus 128 and a total of 6.5. Now we're actually laying juice to the under in this one at minus 114, minus 106 to the over. And can't you guys see this going 4-3 with that overtime goal? This one screams overtime to me. This one screams going over the 6.5 because I do think it's one that we're sweating. It's a 3-2 game in that third period. It looks like chances are that Toronto's going to win it and then Boston ties it up, or vice versa. I really do think it plays out that way, where we get that late goal, we go to OT, and the overtime for this one is coming in at plus 350. So only the two games that I'm liking going to overtime, the Florida Panthers game and this one to go to overtime. Now these two teams play again in Boston on Thursday. When we look here at the Boston Bruins, they're off that loss versus the Islanders. They got absolutely destroyed versus the Islanders on the road in New York, 5-1. I was so blown away by what we saw, or what we didn't see out of the Boston Bruins in that one. It was just a lack of effort in that game. I was frustrated watching. And then when we look at Toronto, they've won their last 2 and 9 of their last 10. So really hard not to get behind the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game. The Boston Bruins won the last 5 matchups versus Toronto, though, and these teams get so scrappy when they play out there. They won in December. It was a 4-3 style game in overtime in Toronto. So it's exactly what I'm expecting in this one. And then they won back in November in a lower scoring game. That one went to a shootout. They won in Boston 3-2. So I'm hoping for the same game we saw in December, not the same game we saw in November, because that would keep us under that total. But I do think this is one where both of these teams are super competitive to the end. Now, when we look at the Boston Bruins schedule, they have the Edmonton Oilers on deck tomorrow. So this is the first night of a back-to-back here for them. They will be traveling to Edmonton to face the Edmonton Oilers. It's going to be hard. When we look at Toronto here, they have won their last 4 first periods as a favorite following overtime, which is what they're coming into this game as. I'm not weighing that into account. I'm not going to bet a first period here. I'm not going to look because we've seen Boston get up in these first periods too. Boston, since the All-Star break, just hasn't been looking as solid as we all would have expected going 4-4-5. Since that All-Star break, we know the tired legs because of all the overtime. I do expect this one to push to overtime. Pasternak, you can look here at his shots on goal or his anytime goal. I love that look. And we know, looking here at Toronto, you got to look at Tavares. Tavares has been really strong. Mitch Marner being strong. Austin Matthews has been strong as well. So give me a 4-3 style game. OT at plus 350. Coin flip. Who wins this in overtime? But I do think it goes over the 6.5. Yeah, it looks like an easy over, and that's kind of what scares me. So we'll see what happens with this one. Kelly throwing out 8 to win for Calgary versus Seattle. Kelly, I hope you are absolutely right. I'm riding big on Calgary today. Tony, thanks for being here. It's great to see your name pop up. Kelly with the 8-3. Come on, Kelly. I want to live bet. I want to bet, not live bet. I want to go in and bet that exact score right now. Since you've thrown out exact scores, I'm going to bet Calgary 8-3 to win over the Seattle Kraken. I love it. Let's look first at the Chicago Blackhawks and the Colorado Avalanche because this game starts off at 9 o'clock Eastern tonight. Okay. Do we have a barking dog in Chicago? Can they at least keep it tight in this one? This is the third matchup of the season between these two teams. So we did see the Chicago Blackhawks win in December 3-2. Now, these teams just did match up on Friday, and we saw Colorado get the huge win. They won that one 5-0 over Chicago. So they've also won five meetings prior at home. So Colorado at home versus Chicago has played really strong. They've been able to get these wins, but we have seen Chicago win once this season versus Colorado. So I don't love this game, you guys. Let's just look at lines. I do think prop betting this one would be great. Minus 420 here for the Colorado Avalanche. You know that would be a parlay buster if you threw it in just for some reason. Minus 1.5's coming in at minus 156, so I can't even get behind them on the puck line. But if you look at the Chicago Blackhawks on the puck line, my plus 1.5 is plus 130. I don't feel that confident in it where I'm only getting plus 130 though. If I was going to do anything with Chicago, it would have to be just straight up give me the win. If I'm throwing $10 on it anyway at plus 320, at least it's a return or it's only $10 if I don't get it. That total is 6.5 minus 134 to the under and plus 110 to the over. I think I just want to prop bet this one and take Chicago in that first period. Looking at Chicago in the first period to come out nice and strong on that puck line, laying the half of goals coming in at minus 106. So I do think they should be able to win this first period. They won 3 of the last 4 first periods versus the Chicago Blackhawks. And we look at the Chicago Blackhawks. They've been starting off these games slow. They've lost their last 4 games in that first period. So I do think Colorado at home in this one have every ability to get off just strong a start. They're off that loss to the Predators, so they will be frustrated. They lost to the Predators on the road on Saturday, 5-1. And we have the Chicago Blackhawks rolling in off a loss as well. They've lost the last 6, you guys. They lost to the Columbus Blue Jackets on Saturday, 5-2. So it's a hard team to get behind. First night of a back-to-back. They got the Coyotes on deck tomorrow. But again, Chicago's not looking ahead. So I'm going to take the Avs in the first period, puck line laying the half a goal at minus 106. I'm going to look at Nathan McKinnon here. We know how phenomenally strong he has been, especially at home. And the Avs are sitting 23-6 at home on the season. It's just, again, minus 420. You can't get behind that. And the puck line doesn't have enough value either. So I think this one, if you really want to take Colorado, just to extend it line here because you need to find that value when you're betting such a big favorite. But I do think those props are in play. So Nathan McKinnon for the anytime goal, there's no value. It's minus 130. 2+ points, there's no value. It's minus 128. 3+ points is where you start to find value in Nathan McKinnon. So this is the Chicago Blackhawks that allow a ton of shots on goal at 32.5 on average per game. Don't have a great kill at 77.5%. You should see Nathan McKinnon get 3+ points in this game at plus 255. So I do like that. You could also look at him for his shots on goal, but again, there's no value. 5+ shots on goal for Nathan McKinnon at minus 130. You can take it up. When we look at a team like the Chicago Blackhawks that are allowing 32.5, as long as Nathan McKinnon stays competitive in this game, 8+ shots on goals plus 550. So I think in these games like this, where it's so lopsided, you look at these players and really, what are we going to see out of them? Now, the backup goalie is in for Colorado. So if we see Chicago be able to score those goals, we are going to see Nathan McKinnon be able to get those shots on goal. So I don't hate the 8+. I would rather, and this is just me as a bettor, you guys, I would rather take Nathan McKinnon for 8+ shots on goal at plus 550 than take him for the anytime goal at minus 130. The goal has a way better chance of cashing there. Absolutely. But it's kind of like no risk, no reward in sports betting. And a lot of these bets, I hate the juice. So that's where I'd go. If you're looking for an anytime goal scorer, you know everyone's got Connor Bedard circled here for the Chicago Blackhawks. I want to go down the line. Seth Jones here. Could he be traded? Could he go to another team? Is he looking to really show up and be impactful for the Chicago Blackhawks? Absolutely. Seth Jones for the anytime goal at plus 800. So you guys know me. I just go big in these ones. 8-2. Okay, Kelly. Meant 8-2 in the series. Oh, Kelly, I thought you're giving me exact score. I got so excited for Calgary to win it big. But I hear you. It is 8-2 in the series. Calgary has dominated over the Seattle Kraken. We will look at that. I want that exact score, though. If Calgary wins at 8-2 now and none of us bet that, Kelly, I'm going to put some money on it. Under for Chicago and Colorado. Yeah, you've got to think this one stays under if Chicago can't score. Backup goalie here. He's been good for Colorado. He's gone 2-2-1 with a 2.18 or 2.80 goals against average and a 913 save percentage. And Peter Maret's expected here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Battle of the Central. I love battles of the Centrals, especially looking at the Dogs because they really do get up for their opponents, but Colorado's so phenomenally strong at home. I couldn't see them taking a flat-out loss here to the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know. This Chicago team is absolutely struggling. Let's look at that last game. It is Grubauer now in net for the Seattle Kraken, not Joey Decourt, and Jacob Markstrom here for the Calgary Flames. Now, I'm going to look at a couple of things. First, let's get to the odds in this one. Calgary, it's minus 134 and plus 112 here for the Seattle Kraken. Total 5.5. So many 5.5s now, you guys, and we're going to start seeing more 5.5s as we get deeper into this month towards the playoffs here. So minus 122 to the over and plus 100 to the under in this one. I do think this one has every possibility of staying under the total. Or sorry, over the total. I don't know why I said under. I started thinking about the fact that I'm going to take Calgary's team total to that over. Calgary's team total over 3.5. Great plus money at plus 130. This team has every ability to put up 4 goals in this game. And we can't count the Seattle Kraken out. I do think they'll get a couple goals. So I am looking forward to Kelly, because Kelly said at 8-2, I've got to go in and bet it. I know you weren't talking about that, Kelly, but I'm going to put some money on it as well. But the over for their team total over 3.5, I think they can absolutely get there. Calgary on the money line's too juicy for me. I don't want to go there with that. Now they have won their last 5 and they had that big comeback win versus the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday night. And I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but Kadri really sparked that one, getting that goal. And Nazem Kadri's been playing absolutely fantastic out there. So if you're looking for someone to be impactful here tonight for Calgary, I would look at Nazem Kadri for the anytime goal. I also think there's an ability to hit that first period over 1.5. That's coming in at minus 108. We've seen the last 5 meetings between these two teams go over 1.5 in the first period. And it's because also both teams have scored. So the both teams to score is plus 192 in the first period. Now, Jacob Markstrom has been playing phenomenally strong. Rumor is that ownership has stepped in and said Jacob Markstrom can't be traded. We're not going to allow coaches, GMs to trade him. So it looks like Jacob Markstrom's staying. That's just what I'm hearing, you guys. I really hope Jacob Markstrom stays with Calgary. I absolutely love what he brings to the table. And I know we're in rebuild, but I want him to stay. So you got to think Jacob Markstrom comes out strong. When Jacob Markstrom lets in some goals in a game, they normally come early. So I could see the both teams scoring in the first period. And Grubauer, we know Calgary could hit him nice and quick. So the Seattle Kraken did win the last matchup back in December. It was a 2-1 game, but Calgary has won 8 of the last 10 meetings, including the 4 games prior to Seattle winning in December. So I think Calgary has every chance. Calgary has gone over their team total of 3.5 in 7 of their last 10 meetings versus the Kraken. They've also gone over that in their last 3 games. Now, on their 5-game winning streak here, they have scored a total of 25 goals. So Calgary has been lighting it up. Like I said, Kadri has been kind of the catalyst, the leader of this team as of late, which we love to see. Now, Connor Zary won't be on the ice tonight. He's out with an upper body injury, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, and forgive me because I love this player. He's being called back up from the AHL, and he's such a spunky young rookie that's able to make a huge impact. I will think of his name. It will come to me. I'll wake up at like 3 a.m. and remember who I was trying to talk about here. Now, this is the last game at home for the Calgary Flames. They will be hitting the road. They need this win tonight because this is a hard road trip on deck. Thursday, they have the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers on Saturday, and the Carolina Hurricanes on Sunday. They need to get this win. I tell you, Calgary's still in hopes of a wild card playoff spot. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for Calgary. I just don't see it happening. I don't see them getting there. And then we look here at the Seattle Kraken, first night of a back-to-back. They have the Jets in Winnipeg tomorrow. Really hard spot to leave Calgary, go to Winnipeg, take on the Jets, but then they come back home for Friday and take on the Winnipeg Jets again. So back-to-back games versus the Winnipeg Jets. I would have more faith in them tomorrow off a loss tonight versus Calgary than I will after them having to travel from Seattle to Calgary to Winnipeg, back to Seattle for that Friday game. So early look ahead for the Seattle Kraken. I do think the Winnipeg Jets have the ability to get the win on Friday, and we'll see how Seattle comes out tonight. And yes, Coronado, that's exactly who I was thinking of, Matt. Thank you so much. I knew it started with a C. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I wanted to say Corona. And I'm like, it's not Corona. That's the name of a beer. We're just having one of those kind of days here. Calgary is playing so strong. That is for sure. You're going to hit the under there. I'm going to just stay off that total. I do think it has every ability to go over because I'm expecting 4 goals out of Calgary. So we'll see what happens in that one. And Doug, I wouldn't be shocked if Colorado did win at 5-1. And that's why you have to look there. If you like the Colorado Avalanche, just do the extended puck line. Lay the 2.5. Let's just look at extended puck lines for sure for this one, because it's the only way to find value, you guys. And when you have a feeling a team is going to win like that, that's where you have to look. Now, I'm not going to bet it, but it makes sense if you like Colorado to take them laying the 2.5 because you're getting plus 112. But again, you're still not getting enough value. If you think they're going to win by 4 goals, laying 3.5 is plus 185. I do think it's better to take the player props then. Who do you think is going to be the most impactful player on this team? Like I said, when you look at Nathan MacKinnon there, you don't get the value with Nathan MacKinnon. So let's just look at some of the other players here. For Colorado, Rantanen, you can get at minus 110 for the anytime goals. So you're paying a little less. Cale Makar has been absolutely fantastic offensive defenseman here for Colorado. So if you want to look at him, I could get behind him tonight at plus 300 for the anytime goal. Shots on goal will come in this one because the Chicago Blackhawks allow so many shots. 5+ shots on goal. Again, Nathan McKinnon, no value at -130. 5+ for Rantanen's coming in at +240. And Kale McCarr for 5+ at +325. So that's what I'd look at. It's interesting to see who the books will allow you to take 8+ shots on goal. It's only Nathan McKinnon at +550. They're not offering any other player out there for 5+ shots or 8+ shots, sorry, on FanDuel. For the 7+ shots, again, it's only Nathan McKinnon at +290. And the 6+, you could take Nathan McKinnon at +145 or Mikko Rantanen at +490. You got to like Rantanen here versus the Chicago Blackhawks for all those shots on goal. And that's what I mean. If you think Colorado's going to win by 3 or 4 goals, like that 5-1 score that you guys brought up, we looked at that extended puck line. You're not getting the value there. So then look at the players that you think are going to be impactful. Look at those players for those anytime goals. Maybe parlay those players for the goals or their shots on goal and go from there, because it's just, you got to find the value betting these games. But you guys, that's it from me. We'll be back tomorrow. Loaded slate tomorrow, 9 games on deck. Enjoy these games tonight. Let's make some freaking money out there. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye, guys.